Hello, this is Frank Klesitz, the CEO of Viral Marketing, and welcome to our live database marketing hangout, Google Hangout on Air. We do these every 2 weeks or so to help our clients and help anyone who's interested in getting more sales from their number one asset that most people don't really know about. Is their past clients, their customers, their unconverted prospects, basically all those emails and all those connections, all those contacts you have sitting in your email program, your Outlook, your Gmail, your Salesforce, your top producer if you're in real estate, which you have a lot of great real estate clients here at Viral Marketing. It can really be in any system. What do you do to stay in touch with these people and communicate with them and position yourself as the expert? So when they have a problem that needs to be solved, they go to you. And that's what we do here at Viral Marketing. And that's all you're going to hear about Viral Marketing on this Hangout. This is a 100% educational Hangout where I want to interview our clients, or really anyone for that matter, getting results with building a database and how they're building a database. That's step one of the Viral Marketing plan. Sending out educational content, which at Viral Marketing we recommend 2 educational videos a month, ideally answering customer questions with an answer. And then finally, the third step is prioritizing follow-up. That's going to identify a lot of prospects. When you can track people who click those videos, and that identifies people who might be interested in working with you or giving you a referral, and you want to follow up with those individuals. So on the Hangout today, we have Ken Pozek. And Ken Pozek, did I say your last name correct, Ken?
Yeah, Pozek, yeah.
Pozek, there we go. So Ken Pozek, and he's here on the Hangout today, and he's going to share how last year, I believe, is about 45 deals. What is it? You're in real estate. You did about 42 homes last year. Mm-hmm. And you're on track to sell 70 homes this year. I think my webcam just went out.
Mine did?
I think mine did. Did my webcam go out?
I can see you.
You still see me? Okay, yeah. Apparently my webcam went out. I can't see myself here. But you're on track to do 70 deals this year from 42 last year. And you're in a very high average price point for Detroit. What's the average selling price point in Detroit?
I mean, overall, it's $150,000.
Okay, and you're playing, then your average price point's like, $480, almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, last year was $479. This year I'm a little over $500,000. So,
all right. And I think what's really interesting is, we have a lot of different, people with different backgrounds here on the show, and you just decided not to do the whole mega team concept with lots of employees. It's you and basically 2 assistants.
You got it.
Really just dominating a very niche in Detroit, which is very competitive. A lot of really big competitive real estate agents in that market. And what I want to do today for our audience, as I promised in the write-up, is what are you doing to dominate this local small niche? And I want everyone to know that there's a live Q&A box here on the Hangout. So on the right-hand side, it should just popped up. Or actually, no, it's disabled. Hang on. Well, unfortunately, the Q&A box is not working now too. So what you can do is actually, if you go, exit out of this, or you go back to the actual page that the Hangout is on, if you're on the page the Hangout is on, there's a comments feature where you can leave a comment. If you leave a comment with a question, I'll be able to get to your question. We can ask it here for Ken, but for some reason, even the Q&A app isn't working here on the Hangout today. So I apologize about that. So Ken, why don't you start off and tell us maybe a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate in 5 minutes. Just tell us kind of how you ended up to where you are today.
Yeah, sure. So I've always lived in Detroit. I grew up in Detroit, like proper. And, my parents, they bought this, remember Carlton Sheets? Do you remember that?
Carlton Sheets, like late night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they bought this kind of get rich in real estate program. And I remember at, 1 a.m. when I'm 16, I'm up watching these VHS tapes, really getting into real estate. And I figured, hey, they can do it, I can do it. So when I was 18, I bought some houses and right out of high school and started flipping some homes. Wow. And then just kind of the market hit, right? And it wasn't doing as great as it was before. So in 2008, I got into full-time sales. And like anybody, I didn't really know where to start. It was, kind of friends and family and doing whatever my broker told me to do. And so, first year I sold $4 million in real estate. And then it was 7 million and kind of just kept growing from there. But then, 2009, 2010, I said, I'm really kind of sick of having an average sales price of 114. And so my wife and I made a decision to move into a nicer area and just started, basically organically growing a database, not really knowing what I was doing, but picking up the phone and interviewing the richest people I knew and asking them hey, last time you bought a house, how did you choose a realtor? And just kind of getting in their head a little bit to try to figure out anything I could to break into a better price point. So so here I am 5 years later and, have a pretty good business.
That's a fascinating story. You're quite the entrepreneur. I didn't know about the buying and flipping homes at 18 years old.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you want to move up your price point, and you just started calling up people that you knew and asking them, what do you think of local real estate agents?
Yeah, I was like, hey, I noticed you moved here, and you have a big house. So can I, just have 10 minutes of your time on the phone? And so I got like a list of the top 15 people that I thought were pretty wealthy, and called them up and said, hey, you've moved around a lot. What could I do to be, not only your real estate agent next, but to find other people like you? What do the affluent look for? And so I bought every book I could on, affluent marketing. And what I found was that people were really looking for knowledgeable agents that had high customer service. And so I had to make a decision because, you've heard it from everybody, every coaching company, units are the only thing that matter. Don't focus on price point. But what I found was a lot of the teams had terrible customer service. They were selling 300, 400, 500 homes a year, but they weren't getting a lot of referrals. And to me, you've heard it, it's easier to find or to get a referral than it is to go out and find and acquire a new client via marketing. And so kind of started focusing on that niche, and it's been growing ever since.
That's incredible. I love how you just called up 15 business owners or, affluent, wealthy people right out of the gate to ask them what they wanted in a realtor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, my goal has been, ever since I started doing that, was when they said, listen, to me, knowledge trumps almost anything. If you can help me get a good deal, or you can be the area expert and really tell me why I should move into that neighborhood, then I'm going to choose you over the next guy, on the buy side. And then on the list side, they always were telling me that they wanted to know about, were there any pocket sales off MLS? Just kind of become that community guy that more than the next guy. And so that was my job, if you will. As I'm selling real estate, I'm also figuring out who the builders are and what the off-market sales were and stuff like that.
How did you choose the neighborhood you were going to go into in the area? Why did you choose the area that you chose?
So it's funny. When I was prospecting, when I first got into the business, I had one bank that sent me some REO properties, right? This is 08, 07, 08, 09. And so a lot of REOs in Detroit, as you can imagine. And they sent me one out in where I live now. And I remember driving through, and I just turned back around and went and got my wife. I'm like, did you even know this area really existed? Like how amazing these homes are. And the community is amazing. The schools are great. There's a lot to do. And so I said, this is where we want to set up. And then from there, I just started picking neighborhoods that had higher turnover and said, listen, I want to have a part of that. And that's kind of how I picked the area.
And then by going in and finding people that lived in those neighborhoods and asking what they wanted in a realtor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Okay. So let's move into, so your database starts to say 15 people in this new niche area.
Yep.
I want to spend the next 10 minutes here talking about how you built your list and how you built your contacts in this whole new high-end price point you just up and decided to move into one day.
Yeah.
How did you build your list? How did you start from those 12 wealthy people in the area to get that become larger?
It was, open houses. It was door knocking. I was, at the time, I didn't have any listings, so I was holding open other brokers, other agents' listings, and trying to grow that database, and then just try to feed it every day. Like the Millionaire Real Estate Agent says, grow a database, and you could live off of it if you're going after it the right way. And so I just kind of took that because, to be honest, I didn't have any huge amount of money to go out and market and spend a ton of money, and so I just figured, hey, this is a great way I can do this, on the cheap, if you will, and grow it.
So hold on. So let me go back to that. If anyone didn't catch that, you did open houses in the high-end neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
How did you do an open house if you didn't have the listing?
I called the broker, the listing agent, and said, hey, listen, I don't know if you do open houses or not, but I'm really aggressive, and my goal would be to sell your listing. And if not, if these buyers decide to go off and buy another house, I'll give you a referral fee. How does that sound? And they were like, sure, why not?
And the big team's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I hate open houses.
Yeah, sure, I hate open houses. Yeah, exactly.
So there you are. You're the agent sitting in there. The people walking in probably think you're the listing agent.
Right.
To some extent. I mean, at least that's the perception. Yeah. And how many people, how would you get people to show up to these open houses? I would assume that's how you're collecting the email addresses. And it's all the neighbors in the neighborhood and all the people in the neighborhood coming into the house, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so my goal was to, this was, so in 2008, 2009, there wasn't as many people going on Zillow just to find their open house or online. So yeah, it was a ton of signs. And at the time, REOs were still big. And so I would talk to listing brokers who listed REOs as well. And I would have these big, yellow signs. I found some agent that told me.
The ugly sign strategy?
The ugly signs, right. Yeah. So foreclosure this way, come take a look at it. And if not, then I would sign them up, get their email address, and say, hey, listen, I've got a list of other homes that I can go show you. As the market started kind of cooling down, by then I was able to start getting some of my own listings. And so now we do, the 7th level open house, door knocking 100 homes around the house. We're mailing the neighborhood to invite the neighbors out. We're going through our buyer database and, inviting everybody out. And then I put 15 to 20 signs out. And so on any given open house, even today, I still do open houses and love them. I'll get 20 to 30 people through.
Ken, this is wonderful advice.
Thank you.
This is great.
Yeah, it's work, and it works.
We're gonna. This is really good. Our audience is loving this. All right, so let's go back to the signs. I just want to spend more time going deeper in, because I'd say a big part of your database building is these open houses you're holding in these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And also we did a hangout a while back for anyone interested with Kyle Wissel. He's like the #2 real estate agent in San Diego, and very competitive market. And that's how he built his databases, by holding really in-depth open houses. Same thing, same strategy you're doing.
Sure.
And so I'm seeing that consistent theme of dominating these local niches by the open house strategy, because it builds the list.
Yeah, no, it builds the list. And like anybody out there, thinking that, A, open houses don't work, or B, like, hey, my sellers don't want you to do an open house because they don't work, right? What I've been telling my sellers, because we're in kind of a hot market, a lot like the rest of the country, and what I'm telling them is, like, listen, you can have either 20 or 30 individual showings set up over the next 2 weeks, or I can invite the top brokers from the area and all of our buyer leads, and you can leave for an afternoon and potentially have a contract by the end of the day. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
And it creates like an auction effect, because a lot of people are in there, like a blitz.
Yeah, exactly. They're bumping elbows with other people, and they're like, man, I better write an offer on this house before this guy does, right? So
yeah. Okay, so open houses, by doing other brokers' open houses in the area that you want if you don't have the listing. Key nugget. Yeah. How many signs would you put out for an open house? Let's go a little deeper on the 7th level open house strategy for those audience that aren't maybe necessarily Keller Williams or haven't read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book where they talk about that. Sure. What is that?
So for me, like, I'm going to take a house, obviously, that's in a decent location, something that's easy to get to, so it's not off the beaten path down some 5 dirt roads. But I'm going to put out 15, 20 signs, and basically I want to start at that artery of where the main freeways might be, off onto that main road, and then trace them all the way back down. And so I just want to get as many people to pass those signs as possible. Because still, it seems like internet and then seeing the signs are probably the main ways people find it. So I want to get that in front of as many people as possible. And it works. And the thing is, my open house signs have my name on them, and they say
so they're branded now. You're doing nice branded ones now.
Yeah, so now they're branded with my name, with Keller Williams as well. And then it says today from 1 to 4. So depending on what day I do it, I always usually do it between 1 and 4. And so then people, they call me up, hey, I got your postcard, or I watched your videos, or whatever it is. And they're like, I see your signs everywhere. Like, when I'm on the weekend, I feel like I see them everywhere.
So go back. You're doing, so you got these signs going out, and how far in advance do you put the signs out from the open house?
Just a half hour before.
Oh, just a half hour before.
Yeah. We've got different, we've got different ordinances that they'll start coming around and picking them up if you put them up the night before. So
got it. And you said postcard. What's that story? You do a postcard?
So as soon as for the open house, I do send out, an announcement to the neighbors. Hey, if you know of anybody that's thinking about moving to the area, please send them by. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious about, what your home value is, stop on by and meet me, that sort of thing. But then I'm also doing postcards. I've got a farm area of about 5,000 homes that I'm mailing in the Northville area. And just basically market updates and all that kind of stuff. Sort of part of my force multiplier marketing effort.
Got it. So you mentioned the open houses on the postcards.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said there's circle calling too, so you're doing some prospecting around the neighborhood, letting know about the open house.
Yeah, so I use Mojo, and so I'm doing that every day, and it's more or less, I'm either looking for a buyer for my seller, or a seller for my buyer, or inviting them to the open house, or looking for talent, right? I'm trying to have a good conversation with as many homeowners in the area as possible, and so use Mojo to do that. Anything
else you can share in pulling off a good open house?
That's it. I like usually bringing homes that are priced lower and homes that are priced higher. So that way, if they don't love this house and they're like, hey, listen, it doesn't have the finishes we're looking for, that's great. I'm available at 4:30. Do you want to go check out this house down the street? And I'm trying to make that as efficient of a time as possible. But they work really well.
That's great. Anything else you can share on growing your database in an affluent neighborhood, an affluent area when you're brand new to it?
Getting to know the players, right? And so for me, I sought out other people that were that were servicing high-end people in our area, affluent people in our area. So I looked out and I interviewed different mortgage brokers and said, listen, this is the area that I really want to dominate. And I tried to find a couple that really dominated that area as well. So I could kind of tack into their database and say, hey, listen, this is my guy. He's a hustler. Yeah, he's young, but he knows the market. And so that really helped. So, I would look for mortgage people, tax people, insurance people, anybody that I could build another, like a vendor list around. And so, listen, I'm going to send you business. I need you to do the same. And so that was part of building the database as well.
Great. We had a question here on the comments. That's why I'm looking off the screen, guys. And this is a good question. You had luck, obviously, 5 years ago in the crash to hold open houses for other brokers. Do you think that will still happen today for a brand new agent in a new area?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still, Frank, there's a lot of old time agents that don't like open houses. They're kind of, for me, I can think of 10 off the top of my head that just don't do open houses. For them, their weekends are for them. But I think their sellers are getting disserviced by not having open houses done. So yeah, I think if you can put it into a light that works, that you can convince them.
Yeah, but because the traditional brokers looking at it is like, oh, this isn't going to find the buyer, and you're not even looking at it like that. You're looking at it, this is a way to build my list.
Yeah. I mean, I'm building my list, but at the same time, I've double dipped 3 listings already this year from open houses. So I mean, they definitely work. It's all in how you market them.
Okay, so let's move on to the next step of the viral marketing plan. So you had to break into this new niche area, and that's the strategy you did it. I think it's great that you shared that. So you're getting email addresses, you're networking, finding the players, you're doing open houses, you're asking people if you can stay in touch. So I want to provide you educational market updates. What's your best email address? You're asking for that at the open house. So let's talk about your touch strategy and maybe what you were doing before viral and why you decided to do the videos. And I want to hear your concern about, I definitely want to hear the whole concern about, would the affluent want to see my webcam videos?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean,
so before we get there, let's talk about what you were doing to stay in touch originally back before you first started doing, open houses, and then we'll get to where you're at today. So let's get that story.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, after reading the MREA, I did that pretty much very early in my career. It talked about 33 touches, and 33 touches sounded like a ton to me. I felt like nobody wants to hear from me 33 times a year. And so the couple things I had to, so basically what I was doing was sending out a postcard once a month and then maybe a call a year. And that was about it for the first, 3-4 years of my career. Then I started getting a little bit more comfortable with it because I was like, hey, if I focus on value, and then people should love it. So that was pretty much it.
Okay. And AJ, thanks for letting me know. Apparently I'm having some glitches, everyone, with the Google Hangout today. Apparently, I guess you've been staring at my face the entire time. And since I can't even see myself on the webcam, I changed that. So hopefully now I'm a little small person on the bottom of the Hangout, and you can see Ken the entire time, the star of the show. Sound good?
There we go.
So if this isn't showing right on your end, let me know in the comments here, AJ. Make sure everything's cool. But you guys should all see Ken right now for the video. All right. Okay. So you're doing something to stay in touch, but not much.
Yeah, not much.
Then you had Naha.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously so much stuff is going online with video. And for me, I'm consuming a ton of video online. And so I guess it was maybe a year ago, actually 2 years ago, you and I were hanging out and at some event, I can't remember, and Anaheim, that's right. And so we were sitting across the table from a guy who is, I think his average sales price is like $1 million. Do you remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
No,
anyways, I
remember hanging out with you there. I don't know who it was though.
Okay, good deal. Well, anyway, so that guy was like, all into video, and I'm like, well, if this guy can do it, I mean, and his average sales price is $1 million, like, yeah, I can do it and do it at a good level. So, about a year ago, I jumped in, and then, the first video I sent out, the people that I was really nervous about, like, I didn't want to bug them because they're important people. They were the ones emailing me back saying like, awesome video, man, that was great content, and congrats, and hope you're doing well. And that was like a big aha and a big relief for me, because I was like, I don't want to make piss these guys off.
Well, yeah, you're doing high. You're probably I would assume your postcards are gorgeous. You're in a good suit. Like you're selling to the high end, and here comes a webcam video with an email, kind of unannounced, right? Right. Is it going to anger? Is it going to anger all these people that have no time because they're all so busy and wealthy, and it wasn't the issue?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they don't, if they don't have the time, that's fine as well. It's another way to keep in touch. But I approach every one of my videos as though I'm presenting for $1 million seller, and that they should find the content that I'm bringing valuable, and that they can, have watched that for 2 minutes, learning something. So that's the goal.
Yeah. So let's talk about the topics that you send out. So you got to come up with 2 educational things to send out every single month that your audience and the homeowners in the area find of value. So what are those things, and how do you come up with them?
I typically, now, the more I think about, okay, videos I need to do, I need to do, I come up with them during every kind of deal that you could think about. If an appraisal goes sideways, I'd do a video on why appraisals go sideways. If the market's really heating up and I'm getting multiple offers and need, more sellers, and I need to let people know about it, then I'm going to send that out. So it's just kind of in your everyday business. Stuff pops up and you're like, man, it'd be a good video, and I'll write a quick note about it. And then now I'm starting to do, and I know we're probably going to maybe a little bit too early on this, but now I'm thinking about doing different series. So right now I'm doing a series of how to choose the right builder. And I interviewed a couple builders and said, okay, if you're sitting down to a client, what are the 5 things they need to know? Go. And so it's to be able to, pull out some good content.
That's great. Do you remember the very first topic that you sent out? What was this the market update for the very first video? Hey, it's Ken. And
yeah, it was a market update for the area. And then from there I did I remember my second video, the best. It was like the best ROI on
home
repairs for your home. Yeah. And that one had a really good response.
Yeah, and for anyone who's interested about the best topics, every week we send out our viral marketing newsletter. So if you go to getviral.com, and on the right-hand side, you can opt into our newsletter. We go through like the millions of emails we send, and we find out which emails have the best open and click rates, and we publish them every single week. And since some of our clients in real estate, you can literally just take a look at the exact email and the video went out, and just swipe the headline, and don't plagiarize it, but use that as the idea to send out. Right. Yeah. And that's what we do pretty much with Ken. Ken, here's what's working, and we give that information on over to you. How much time does it take you to cut those videos?
In the beginning, it was a little bit longer, but then the more you feel comfortable with that blue light that flashes at you, the easier it gets. So I would say, it takes me a half hour a month. Okay. I usually shoot them both at the same time, so I might be wearing the same thing, but that's fine.
Then how many people did you say you have in your database? You have
between what you guys have in vertical response and my contactually, it's a little over 3,000 people.
Okay, so you have 450 past clients. So you've sold 450 homes. How many of those 450 are in the market that you're in now, the affluent market?
Probably 300, 350, something like that. Yeah.
So there's at least the 10% rule is 30 deals a year from that list.
Yeah.
10% of your your database, the true database.
Yep.
I'd say you should get from 30. And then the other 3,000 emails of what online leads, opting in, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm part of the local chamber, so it's a couple hundred people from there, people that know me, but maybe I haven't had coffee with yet. Asking them, hey, listen, is it okay if I send you some of these videos? And then email opt-ins, people going on my website asking for more information, that stuff.
Okay, so to go a little deeper on what Ken's going to be doing with his topics is, I think everyone understands he records 2 short educational video tips a month, answering a customer question. And Ken, what's your blog? Where can people go to see your blog? What's the address? Do you remember?
Well, if they go to pozekgroup.com and scroll down, I think you guys are starting to put all my videos on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, pozekgroup.com. Take a look at all his videos, all of his content's on there. But the next step for him is, so you're working your database, but you want to get access to the databases of other people in the community. And what you're going to do is you're going to start interviewing them.
Yep.
Right? To align yourself with them, and then hopefully they promote it to their lists and they put on their Facebooks.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I was telling you about. So starting in June, I'm going to try to interview a business owner a day, and just a quick 2-minute, 3-minute video, nothing long, but just, hey, tell me a little bit about your business. How'd you get started? Who's your ideal client, that sort of thing. And then, we'll put together the video. It'll go out to my database, and then I'll also obviously try to get it out to their database as well. Yeah.
If anything, they could post it on Facebook. That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. Exactly. Yep.
For anyone who's interested, I wrote a really good article on the whole co-marketing thing that Ken's looking to do, is aligning with other business owners to get access to their lists and market, cross-market. If you Google the official viral marketing real estate co-marketing plan for referrals. So that's it. The official viral marketing real estate co-marketing plan for referrals. And I basically
make it a little bit longer.
I could, yeah, let's say it is a long one. But I actually went through like all the different SIC codes out there, and I tried to figure out, okay, what are the best industries? If I want to go like interview business owners, like where do I even start for the industry, right? Like who's probably the most like relevant for being a real estate agent? And I put together about like 20 or so of them that I think would be really good.
Yeah.
So it's right there in the article for anyone who's interested. So, okay. So there's another thing that you're doing with content. So you're sending out these 2 educational videos to your database to stay in touch. We'll talk about all the benefits of that. And you're going to start interviewing business owners. Okay.
Yep.
But you also, in addition to your open houses and your database and the people that you know bringing you business, you also have some buyer leads coming from online, and you wanted to build a website that was very useful to the people wanting to buy a home in the area that you're in as well. Would you want to share a little bit about how the creating of the content and the content creation strategy for organic SEO has helped you?
Yeah, so maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I built out the site where I've got every neighborhood in all of the areas that I serve, and my goal for that was to get a ton of photos, and if it was a planned community, then meet with the developer and get all of their layouts and any information that I could get for potential buyers moving to the area, whether that's out of state or just moving up in the area, and then we put sales data for every neighborhood. I want to say we've got 90 neighborhoods, and our neighborhoods aren't.
You have 90 niche neighborhood pages.
90 niche neighborhood pages, and I've got somebody who comes in a couple days a week for me to kind of keep that updated.
That's incredible. Are you doing video tours of the communities yet?
That's this summer, actually. I've got my first 4 scheduled for later in May, once it's a little bit.
Hopefully my camera works, everybody. I guess that was a leading question for even myself, but I got to show everybody something. I got the brand new Hero. Hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see me, Ken?
Yep, I can see you.
All right, I got my Hero. This thing was like $500. It's like the nicest one. And this is a suction cup that goes on top of your car. And I would love for our clients to get these. I'm going to kind of work on it, but put these on top of your car and drive around the neighborhood. Send it in. We can edit up, make a cool video of the neighborhood with like a voiceover or something like that.
Yeah, I'm in. I'll be your guinea pig.
I really think that's the next big thing, as these costs for Zillow leads and everyone's bidding up prices for clicks, and everyone has a buyer site now. Like the battle's going to be won over who has the most useful buyer site, not who can pay the most for the lead. And
I think that leads right into content and getting in. Yeah, I mean, content for me is king, right? And so I might not get as many leads as some other teams do, but my leads that I get are usually really good. I mean, they're really good quality, if you will. People that they're not just messing around on the site. If they've gone through my videos and they've gone through my web pages, they're usually pretty serious, either a buyer or seller. And so that's been huge. And so that's been my strategy, is kind of becoming the community manager. Figuring out what roads are going to be paved next, and which new developments are coming up, or what stores are opening up, right? I mean, my goal is to put all that online and kind of be somebody that can really be useful, a good resource for people. So that's the goal.
Yeah. AJ had a question. Thanks, AJ. What camera would you say you recommend for interviewing business owners? How do you plan on pulling this off? Like, how do you literally plan on pulling off interviewing a business owner every day?
So
in your office?
Like, I bought this tripod at like Best Buy for like $30, and I'm just gonna bring and it snaps right on the camera that you gave us as part of our program. It snaps right onto there.
I gave you the flip cam back in the day, or you still have the webcam?
I've got the webcam, the Logitech 1080p.
Yeah, so the webcam that we sent you when you signed up actually has a way to screw in a tripod.
Yeah, you can screw it right in. Yeah, exactly. And then it comes right on top of the tripod. I'll bring my laptop with me and roll. So.
Well, that's great. So you go see them at their office.
Yeah, I'll go see them, because I want to kind of see I want to build some rapport as well, right? And so I want to see their shop, or see their behind the scenes, like let them pull the curtain back and see what they're doing. And that way, hopefully they'll ask me in return. How do I do what I do?
You know what you got to do, man, is you got to get them to post that interview up on their website and backlink to your home search site.
Yeah, I mean, backlinking.
That's what's going to drive up your home buyer site. Where can someone go to take a look at your home buyer site? Who do you use, and where's that at?
I mean, so my main site where I have all my neighborhoods and everything is that pozekgroup.com. And then I've got a Boomtown site as well, but I'm not building that out as much as the other one.
Got it. Yeah, man, I think the co-marketing partners, interviewing them and getting them to put that content on their website, so make it almost like an interview for them, branded for them, if you will, like almost like a marketing company for them. And then that links back to your site, so you have all of these local businesses They have all
Oh
these
yeah, I love
good,
that idea.
just all these good Google ranking linking back to you. Yeah, I mean, no one will be able to compete with you on your buyer site.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
huge. I'm writing that
So
down. All right, deal.
good. Yeah, let's do that. All right, man. So that's great. So I think I wrote in the write-up here. I wanted to make sure I touched on all the points in my write-ups. Is that organic strategy,
Mhm.
very niche farming, which is what a monthly postcard at the 5,000. Do you
Yep.
have an example of your postcard you can hold up to everybody? So do you have some example of your marketing collateral so people can see what the high-end marketing looks like that you're sending out? You have anything in your office you can grab?
Yeah, hold on one second.
So guys, while we're waiting here, I hope you enjoy these interviews. If you have any questions, again, my Google Hangout is messed up. If you're just joining us, I can't see myself, and I don't know what camera is showing. I think I see this Ken now. Maybe this is me, hopefully. If you have any questions, just use the comments feature on the Hangout where AJ made some comments because I could see that, but the Q&A app inside of the Hangout's not working for me. So we're just rolling with what we got.
Yeah, so I don't have any of my postcards that I send out right with me, but if anybody wants to email me, it's ken@pozekgroup.com, and I'll send you a PDF proof of what I send out. But one of the things that I do for the higher end is because they're looking for knowledge and they're looking for service, but I also wanted my marketing collaterals to be a little bit nicer. So I do hire a professional photographer. That's all she does is real estate photography. And then I'm creating a blueprint of the house, right? You've seen those. We do URL, like home specific URLs for all of our marketing. And then instead of just like printing off an 8.5 by 11, I actually have a printer here in town that does some really pretty awesome stuff in terms of just they're UV coated and they look fantastic. And anyways, just a little bit nicer than what the traditional agents do. And so all of our marketing pieces kind of show the brand that we're trying to portray. They're all just really high end, and it seems to work.
Great. All right, man. So let's move on to. I hope, are we calling the people? So let's just step back for everyone watching. We talked about how we broke into a brand new niche market, how we built this database in that high end niche market. Yep. We talked about what you're sending out to your database to stay in touch. And again, let's review that. You have your 2 educational videos going out a month through email and going on Facebook. You have your farm, which is probably a lot of the same people that are getting the monthly postcard. So basically, they're all getting the monthly postcard too. Is there anything else you're doing to stay in touch with that database?
On top of that, I'm also sending out a postcard to people that are just in the database. So yeah, they might get 2 pieces of mail from me if they're in my farm, but if they live out of state, I'm still sending them something because if they sold their $600,000 or $800,000 home here, they have a lot of friends back home. And so say if they move to Atlanta from Detroit, and their friends are talking about, I'm going to be moving to Texas next year. Well, great, you need to call my friend Ken. So I stay with people regardless of where they live, if they're in my farm or not.
What's up? Great. Buddy Blake, what's up, man? Welcome to the Hangout. Buddy Blake is a wonderful agent up in the North Carolina, Wilmington, Carolina area. He asks, what website strategy on the postcards are you driving folks to, Ken? Separate phone number? Do you track it through IVR? Again, I can't see the postcard you're showing up. So maybe you answered that and holding it up. Maybe I don't know.
No, that's fine. So the postcards I send out, I'm using Callfire. So just to make sure that they're tracking it. But what's funny to me is like I'm sending out these postcards, and then people are going online and finding me on YouTube or wherever. I mean, I hear probably on half of my appointments they're saying I went online and I watched your videos, and to me that's amazing. So they're getting my postcards, then they're going online.
Okay, we got to talk more about this. Yeah, okay. We're going to cover this. All right, so what Ken's saying here is basically there's no reason to make a bad decision anymore when you have access to the world's information in your pocket on a smartphone. So what's happening is you're just sending out these postcards that have your branding on it.
Yep.
And or any other traditional marketing for that matter, your open houses. And what people are doing is like, well, who's this guy? And they type their name into Google.
Exactly.
All right. Now what happens? Or
well,
what?
I mean, so that's the thing. So I'm using a Callfire number on the postcard. So if they call me directly for the postcard, great. I know and I can track it, which is what I want to do. But a lot of people are going on Google, they're typing in my name, and my videos would pop up, or they're going to YouTube. If you go to my main site, if they scroll down, it has a lot of my videos. And then obviously that takes them to my video blog, which has all the ones I've ever done. And then they're reaching out to me based off of my internet number. And so I've got a Callfire number to track that as well.
That's interesting. Yeah. Now, how do all that internet marketing work that you do, all that SEO, all the putting the videos up on YouTube, making sure people can find them, that costs money, takes a lot of time. How in the world do you even track the ROI of that when it's so colluded at that point?
I'm always asking people, how did you hear of me? I think that's something I learned from you a long time ago. And so, if they're saying videos, great. Or you've been, I had a seller, just last week, they called me up and they're like, hey, you've been sending me videos for the past year and a half and, I'm ready to list. I don't remember how you got my email, but that's it. And so I'm always asking people how they hear me and, try to improve on where people are hearing from me. So. Yeah,
but you hear, I got your postcard. And then, I went and found you online and watched your videos, got to know you. And then I went to your open house. It does get a little bit hard, but eventually whatever they say is what you assign, right?
Correct.
For the ROI eventually.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
You said that even the videos online, people are watching them and it's making the listing appointments so much easier and it's making conversations so much easier. Can you talk about that and how that's helped you?
Yeah, so usually they'll bring up a video that they've seen, or like, hey, I've got 700 views on my tour of downtown Northville, which is, I think, pretty decent. And so it's like, yeah, it seems like you really know the area, or, hey, I remember you were talking about how appraisals are really tough in today's market, or, that sort of thing. And hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
What about calling? Let's move on to the calling of the prospects. So one of the things when you do database marketing is you got to build a database of the right audience, which you have. You got to communicate with them, which we talked about. But when you do internet marketing, you can actually track who's actually engaging with this stuff. For example, when you send a video out to this database, you can track, let's say it went up to 3,000 people. If 10% of the people watched it, that's 300 people that watched the video on, say, the 5 things you must know before you sell your home this summer in Northville. Right. Well, you want to know who those 300 people are. Are you following up with those open click reports? Are you using those? Talk to us about that.
So the difference is, because I use a program called Contactually that helps me keep in touch with all my past clients as well. And so some people are just fanboys, and that sounds bad, but some people are just fans of the videos, and so they watch every one of them. So if I called them every other week, it might sound like I'm stalking them. So I look for like the outliers that I haven't been in touch with in a few months. And it's pretty easy. Like you said, it's maybe, 200-300 people, and I can see like these guys are the ones that are always opening stuff or always clicking on stuff.
Yeah, that name rings a bell. I know that guy. He's always on there. Who's this person? Yeah, look up exactly. Actually, like, oh, wow, I talked to that expired 2 years ago.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, great. All right. So let's move on towards, and again, if anyone has any questions, please, this is why we do these live and these aren't recorded videos, is so you can come on here and watch and ask any questions. And again, in case you're just joining us, my webcam's not working. We have a couple glitches. If you can't see me right now, maybe you can see me now. But go back to the actual Hangout page that has all the comments and the write-up. And if you write something in the comments, it'll show up if you have a question. That way we can ask Ken questions, okay? So hopefully I'll go back to Ken and switch the camera here back to you. You're very successful at this. I really want to try to dive into why this is working. And let's just spend the rest of the time here. The people attending this Hangout want to break in and get a higher price point, want to break into a niche market and dominate it with like a referral strategy, not a mega team, and they want to do well with a small number of homes and really kind of model what you've done in your business. Mm-hmm. Let's get some more tips for these people, what they need to know to be successful. So when it comes to the whole concept of database marketing, are there any tips that you can share that would be a benefit to the people watching here?
I would say the first thing, or one of the things you're doing as you go along is you got to stay in touch, right? We've touched on that whole program, right? But outside of that, being that area expert, and I did that by, meeting with every builder's rep in the whole city. And I would take them to lunch, right? Sit down at their model and listen to their spiel, right? Why are they the better builder than the next guy? And I'm trying to, be able to draw out content and build a relationship at the same time. And so my goal is to be the agent that has the most knowledge, to be honest. And it sounds kind of crazy, but I want to be the Angie's List. I want people to come to me for everything that they need, whether that be, real estate sales or a hardwood guy, right? And so for me, through building those vendor referrals and getting to know the neighborhoods better than anybody else, that's my goal. I've been able to build some really cool relationships where real referrals, as I touch base, just come. It's been
so with these builders. Yeah, so these builders you have relationships with. I'm trying to understand this.
Yeah,
these are the embedded W-2 salespeople for the builder that are doing like the open houses.
Exactly.
That's what I'm seeing. Okay, and then people probably come in to want to buy a house, but they have one to sell. So you're getting the referral from that person to sell the home.
Exactly. Yeah,
Well, that
exactly. And
sounds
so
very profitable and good.
it is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and most of these folks, yeah, and not only that, but it's like a lot of these people, I know them so well now that they're like, hey, listen, they're not going to buy with us for whatever reason. They don't like the lots we have available or whatever it is, but I pass along your name. And then I can call them, and all of a sudden they're talking to an agent that's not just trying to sell for that one builder, but they know all of the builders out there and the benefits and the features that they're going to offer and what they should look out for if they're going to walk into, just talk to the sales manager, right? And so for them, it becomes something valuable that they're not able to, get on their own.
You should really interview those builders, man, and get them to help them stay in touch with all those buyer leads, because they're spending a fortune driving those open houses with the newspaper ads. Usually, I see, building houses.
Right.
Is you got to interview them and get in front of their buyer list.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I just thought about that. Okay, so the home builder strategy is huge. Why don't more people do that? That seems kind of obvious to me. I would think most of the home builders would be able to do the selling, but in fact, they do refer it off. Anything you can add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to me. I was talking to one builder rep the other day, and he was like, I'm surprised that other builders don't reach out to realtors more, and vice versa. He's like, I was looking at, I just took over this new community, and I was looking at how much realtor business we did in the past 2 or 3 years, and it was only like 15%. He goes, I want to get that up to 70%. I want you guys to be our biggest fans. And so I kind of took that as like, I've got something of value, not just for the buyers, but the builders as well, right? So, obviously my goal would be to bring them a deal, but at the same time, I want to build that relationship for the potential referral as well.
This is interesting, man. You're basically starting a marketing company, really. I mean, you're going to be doing marketing for these builders. You're doing marketing for these co-marketing partners. And then in return, they promote you to their list and they link back to you. And you're going to do it by just basically doing basic video interviews with a webcam, which is incredible. I love it. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
So the builder strategy, what else could you share to our audience that wants to dominate a local niche so they get the business? Because there's probably, how many other agents are direct mailing that neighborhood? And how many other agents are they hear on the radio waves and TV waves and they're online and the stuff that you're not really doing? I'm sure it's very competitive.
It's super competitive. I mean, in the top, 100 for KW, I think we've got like 7 or 8 in our area, and guys doing hundreds of millions in sales and have huge mega teams. So yeah, I mean, the only way that I can kind of get around that is, the force multiplier effect, which I do believe in. That for me, it's worked great, and being that direct mail.
What is the force multiplier effect? Go back to
that. The direct mail and the YouTube, and I'm calling the neighborhoods looking for sellers who are looking to sell for my buyers. They see my open house signs. Yeah. What's up? The door knocking, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
so it's all the coming together is what you mean by the force multiplier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So for me, that's been huge, and trying to just get my name out as much as possible and building relationships. And so for me, I've never been really unit driven, right? And so for me, like the higher end market, I feel like it almost demands that. I know a lot of these huge teams, they have maybe 10% of their business is in the $500,000 plus. But for me, I just want to dominate that top area. And so for me, being that niche guy, people reach out to me because they know that I'm not just covering all of Michigan. I'm covering this area. I'm the go-to guy. And so that's the way I wanted to position myself.
Okay. Other little things you're doing that we haven't talked about that's making you that niche guy in Northville?
I do feel like I've got a guy for everything. So when at closing, usually the buyers are always like, oh, I'm sure Ken's got a guy for that, or you know what I mean? And so I'm kind of trying to tie all these people together. And for me, it's turned up, fantastic. I mean, because I'm referring a ton of business out and to people that I vetted, right? People that have done work in my own home or my client's home, and people that I really could trust. And that's important. I mean, because if you're referring out crappy vendors, you're going to look terrible. And so for me, like, I'm referring out all these people, and in turn, they're dealing with those same affluent people. So I think that's, partners in those, I think, are huge.
Have you heard of House Call or Dizzle?
No.
All right. I just ran into these guys. If you go to Google and type in Dizzle, Dizzle, they're actually like literally up the street from me here in San Diego.
Okay.
And I think House Call is too. They're in San Diego too.
Okay.
What they do is they give realtors an app. So you can give all your past clients an app where you put on there all your co-marketing partners and who you recommend, so your own local Angie's list.
Nice.
So we put that in your emails and everywhere around, like download my app and get all my preferred vendors. and those are the same people you're doing the interviews with, and it's just one way where like, they see your app on their iPhone all the time, right? There's your face on the app, or whatever it is. Something like that. Yeah.
How much is that? Do you know?
I have no idea. Hang on, let's find out.
Okay.
Dizzle.com.
All right.
Oh, Dizzle's getting some free press. Let's see what we got. Stay top of mind with your own mobile app. I don't know what the pricing is, but people can go there and check that out. Okay,
That's
good.
awesome.
All right, I'm digging it, man. What other tips you got for us? And again, if anyone has any questions, please, this is why we do these live. Go on, ask a question. We'll bring it up. Buddy, if you're watching, I know you got some good questions for us, and keep coming to them, AJ. I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead, Ken. The question.
That's the firm that I'm with. Obviously I'm with Keller Williams, and so we, they allow us to brand our own name, right? And I'm sure other big box ones do too, maybe. But my biggest, for me, I wanted to put my brand out there, right? And I wanted it to look fantastic, not just in my collaterals, but I'm part of like the open house signs and the YouTube videos and the website, and that's another thing. Bringing it all back together and staying top of mind. I mean, that's why these videos are fantastic, and the database. Just props to you guys. You guys do a really great job. Thanks, makes it easy for me. So
I appreciate that. And obviously, if anyone's interested in viral, go to the website. All the information's there. AJ asks, Ken, what percentage of your postcards go to homes over 400,000? How large of a radius do you have to cover to find that many neighborhoods in that price range? Very well worded question, AJ. Love it.
Yeah. So all of them go into $400,000 plus neighborhoods. Our area in Northville, the average sales price is maybe $350 as of right now. But I target in those neighborhoods that are all over 400,000 is my goal. And so, my range in terms of homes that I sell is somewhere between 300 and $1,450,000 was my biggest one last year.
How big is that radius though? So you said let me see if I rehearse what you said.
15-minute drive in terms of a radius. In terms of mileage, it's 5 miles, something like that.
That's pretty small.
It's pretty small. Yeah.
I mean, there's people that will drive 2 hours for a listing of that size.
Yeah, and that's the thing that in terms of positioning myself as like the guy who knows the area so well. When I go on a listing appointment against one of those guys that hey, I service all of Detroit, or some of them all of Michigan. There's no way they can give the knowledge that I can, because they're so transactional, right? They're going on 4 listing appointments a day, and that's fine. That's a different model, and it's not wrong. It's just not what I do. And so when I go out there, I'm like, hey, listen, I know all of the homes that have sold. Here's the 3 off-market sales, and here's what's coming up, and here's the long list of buyers that I have for the neighborhood, because people seek me out because they know I cover this area. And so that's, to me, it's been the power moving forward and having kind of a niche area.
That's great. Okay. What's the next steps for you and your business?
I am going to start hiring on, list partners, basically, not so much buyer specialists or listing specialists, but and start branching out and kind of replicating what I've done here in kind of the next city. Not so much
expansion.
So not so much like 4 hours away, but just maybe the next city over, right? And,
yeah. So it's like niche agent expansion, not mega. Well, I guess you're a mega agent, not a team, but you're going to take your niche strategy to a whole another market and do the exact same thing. Are you still going to do the whole break in and call some wealthy people and do open houses? Is that the plan?
100%. Yeah, I mean, exactly right. And so there's another neighborhood or area, it's called Birmingham, that I've been wanting to break into. And so that's kind of the next step for me. That's where a lot of the athletes live, and there's, multi-million-dollar homes. And so I think that I could take the same strategy that I've done here and move it on. And so I think that'll be maybe a good follow-up video we can do in a couple of years.
Oh, that'd be a great video.
Yeah,
I think it's a fantastic strategy, man. I really hope. I think it'd be a great, almost like every single week we cover it, of like, here I am breaking into a new market, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do it.
There you go. Yeah,
I think there'll be a lot of people to watch that. David Garcia, how you doing, man? That's a great question. What percentage of your business is seller versus buyer business? Also, are you using a guaranteed sale in your market?
I'm not using a guaranteed sale. There's a lot of guys that are, and so because of that, I've went away from it. And so, as far as seller business versus buyer business, it's like 75% seller business, 25% buyer business.
How many of your sellers come from the open houses, like a buyer lead converting to a seller? I mean, how much of your sellers come from like buyers disguised as sellers? I'm curious.
Buyers disguised as sellers. I've never tried to quantify or exactly how many come from that, but
that'd be a hard number.
Yeah, I would say that maybe 1 in 10 leads that I get from an open house is going to be a seller sometime down the road. Majority of them are buyers.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your team. You said you have 2 people that work with you right now.
Yeah.
Who are they?
So I've got a full-time admin that basically handles listing and closing coordination, and all the other small stuff. And then I've got a marketing manager who helps me do my postcards, and I also do some direct mail, like kind of Dan Kennedy style letters to certain niche areas, depending on what I'm going after. And so she does all that stuff for me, and then she also does all my blogging for me. So those are the 2 that I've got, and then actually did just hire on a buyer's agent just not too long ago. So that's that's where we're at.
And the blogging is different than the stuff Viral's doing. The write-ups with the videos, that goes to your database. She's taking it to a whole new level of like the super niche neighborhood writing articles.
Exactly, and we want to take that to the next level, with Viral as well, by going out with
GoPro videos, man.
Yeah, GoPro videos. Yeah, I'm on it. So that's the next step, is kind of bringing those 2 together.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any other questions for you, and I want to just kind of stick around here for anyone else who's still watching. I really wanted to dive into how Ken has broken into a new market. I think you really answered every question that I have, Ken.
All right. Awesome.
So this is actually a little bit ahead of where everyone's at. So we're just going to kind of sit here and hang out and see if another question or 2 comes on in, or else everyone can hop off the hangout and get on with their day. But this is the live Q&A section. But feel free to answer. Anyone asks a question, we'll get it answered.
One of the things I wanted to mention, I don't know if I talked about in my story earlier, is I grew up, like I said, like in Detroit. The sale of my first house that my parents moved me to when I came home from the hospital, homes are selling in that neighborhood between like $20,000 and $30,000. That's like a T-shirt for you, I think, Frank Closets. And so it can be done. I don't come from privilege or
man. You came from $20,000-$30,000 house, and now you're talking to sellers and talking to people up in that very affluent range. Yeah. There's probably a whole mindset thing we could talk about of a shift being there.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember this, my first $500,000 listing appointment. I was literally shaking, like trying to go through the Mike Ferry script, right? So I've got 3 questions for you, and it's freaking me out, right? And that was just because I hadn't previewed enough homes and I didn't know the market as well. And so at that point, I was like, if I'm going to really do this, then I need to feel super comfortable. So that took me going to preview as many homes as possible and meeting with as many builders and getting as many homes as possible. And really, I feel like knowledge overcomes any objection. And so for me, that was it. And so mindset was huge.
Yeah. Ken, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29 and 29 too. And I remember when I started Viral, I was like, I think I was like 22. And my mom was a band teacher, and my dad was just an insurance agent. I remember going like to talk to one of the first clients for Viral. It was like a millionaire real estate agent at this huge house. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world for me. And I don't know. I remember that was a big adjustment to feel like you can play on that level, and it's really the same thing. It's really no different. It's absolutely no different, but it's a feeling to be able to move into the influent market. I think there's something that could be touched on there. I'm glad we touched on that here on this hangout. Yeah. Buddy asked a question. Hey, buddy, Dizzle, Dizzle, I just heard about him. I don't know much about it. I don't use it. It's just
sounds like Snoop Dogg probably started it.
Yeah, Dizzle, right? And then the other one is House Call, I believe. So if you Google House Call, I just typed into Google Realtor Vendor app, and that's what came up. So those are the 2 companies for that one. So cool. That's all I got. This is a great hangout. Ken, thank you so much. Sorry, one more question from Chris Colgan. Do you call high-priced expireds and FSBOs?
Yeah, we don't have a ton of expireds right now, but FSBOs for sure. They're out there, and it's hilarious to me that somebody would try to sell like that kind of home, and the type of buyers that would just be tire kicking would be way more than people that would be serious. And so I actually have had some pretty good success in the past couple of years calling those higher end FSBOs.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. We got some questions coming again. We're a little bit ahead of everyone on the questions. Again, there's a delay.
Oh, I got it.
All right, so Bob asks, how would you break, well, we answered the question, how would you break into a new area? So Bob, if you go back to the replay of the hangout, it'll say how we break into a new area. What we didn't answer is how long would it take to start getting business when you break into an area? So you're going to go into a new area. Right. What's the timeline of, from the moment you decide to put your time and money into it, when do you get your money out in a commission check?
Got it. So my goal, my next plan would be that it's going to take me a year to really start being profitable. When I started farming and started meeting with people, it took me 7 months to get my first listing in that new farm, that new higher end area. And then from then it just started, building on itself pretty quickly. So, but for me, I'm budgeting for a year. And then if it happens sooner than that, then awesome.
May I ask what that budget is to break into a new market? What would you recommend for somebody?
So for me, like I'm looking at another 5,000 homes, and it costs me somewhere around $1,800 a month to mail those homes. So that plus the infrastructure, somewhere around 35 to 40 grand is what I'm putting aside.
Fair enough. Thank you for sharing that. That's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
AJ asks, great questions, AJ. Are you still using the MFO listing script, the Mike Ferry organization script, the listing script, which I can believe you can get off his website, I believe?
Yeah, you can. I started MFO and then I moved into Tom Ferry and now I'm with Maps. So it's kind of a meld of all three of what they teach. I have a very set script and I do my listing presentation on a laptop and kind of just walk them through, what we're all about and what we can do to, sell their home.
So it's a little more explaining and presentation than just strictly questions based.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Anything you can share about how to create an effective listing presentation for the high end? Is it any different than for the regular end?
No, I mean, I think, you've got personality styles, whether that's, in the lower end or the higher end. And so for me, you just got to figure out who your market is and at the listing presentation. And so I've got a ton of data if I feel like I'm in front of an analytical, or if I'm just in front of a high eye, I'm just, I'm playing into that. And so it's got a little bit of everything. And I just spend more time on places depending on who I'm pitching to.
Just slides on a PowerPoint?
Yeah, I have another marketing company that created it alongside with me.
Oh, great. All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you everyone so much for watching these. I really try to make these things useful, and hopefully the camera angles and the way the camera is working here didn't mess you up too much. Hopefully I'm going to click back to my camera. Ken, thank you. Your knowledge was very open and sharing, and the fact that you did this is great, and we're all so much very appreciative. If you have referrals for the Detroit area, please send them up to Ken to thank him here for this event. And if you are interested in learning a little more about viral marketing, Get Viral, GETVYRAL. We help you get more sales from your database. We interview on a webcam to get those educational videos out to all the people you know. We start with you on camera, then we can expand to interviewing other people on camera. And then we're even looking and testing out. We're not doing it yet, but what would it be like to put a GoPro on top of your car and start doing neighborhood tour videos? We're trying to figure out how can you get the best results using video, social media, and database to grow your business. So if you're interested in that, follow us here on Google+, subscribe on YouTube. What are all the things? Opt in for our newsletter on our website. And then if you are interested in talking to us a little more about what type of results you could expect of what we did here with Ken, you can go to our website and request a free strategy session, which will talk with one of our guys here that will really, tell you what you need to know, facts-based. Will this work? Will it not? What's your database? We'll go through all that. So thank you so much for attending. Ken, thank you for your time, and we'll end the hangout right there.
Thanks, man.